The first signs of the Korrath Empire's interest in Earth were subtle but unmistakable to those paying attention. High above the atmosphere, sleek silver vessels hummed with energy that no natural phenomenon could produce. Satellite began reporting anomalies in orbital mechanics, and long-range sensors detected bursts of signals that no human-made system could generate. Yet most governments dismissed the warnings as technical glitches or overactive imaginations, confident that the vastness of space and the obscurity of Earth's technological level made humanity irrelevant to interstellar powers, unaware that humans had spent decades secretly advancing the technology in ways designed precisely to counter threats like the Korrath, whose arrogance and historical victories across dozens of star systems had convinced them that any primitive species could be subdued or eradicated with ease. And when the first Korrath warships pierced the veil of the solar system, their arrival was met with a combination of awe, fear, and quiet anticipation by those who had been preparing. Humanity did not panic or scramble blindly. Instead, coordinated networks of orbital defenses powered by AI-driven protocols sprang to life, deploying drone swarms and energy shields that had been meticulously tested. The Korrath commanders, expecting minimal resistance, were immediately surprised when their vessels encountered the electromagnetic barriers, their initial attacks failing to penetrate, and communications intercepted by human intelligence revealed their growing confusion as they recalculated their strategies in real time. Yet the humans did not strike immediately, choosing to study the enemy, observe their patterns, and understand their vulnerabilities, sending coded messages that seemed like desperate pleas for diplomacy but were carefully designed to manipulate Korrath assessments. On Earth, scientists and military officers worked side by side, monitoring energy outputs, weapon, charge cycles, and propulsion anomalies, sharing data across encrypted channels faster than the Korrath could comprehend. Civilians watched from below, unaware of the intricate web of planning unfolding above, while the Korrath, relying on outdated assumptions about human behavior and psychology, misinterpreted the calm, seeing it as weakness, a critical error that would soon cost them dearly. When the first human countermeasures were deployed, they were surgical, precise, and devastating, disabling entire wings of Korrath cruisers without a single human casualty, demonstrating an understanding of energy resonance, shield harmonics, and tactical positioning that the alien commanders had not anticipated, as reports came in of disabled weapons arrays and incapacitated command modules. Panic began to ripple through the Korrath fleet, yet the humans maintained strict discipline, restraining themselves from total annihilation. Their strategy designed to send a message: Earth was not just capable of defending itself, but could dismantle an entire armada with calculated efficiency. The first skirmishes escalated into full-scale engagements where the superiority of human innovation became undeniable. Drones adapted mid-battle, learning Korrath maneuvers and predicting attack patterns, while energy pulse arrays neutralized enemy ships in moments, leaving the invaders stunned and unprepared. Back on Earth, leaders observed the unfolding victories with solemn pride, knowing that the Korrath's initial arrogance had blinded them to the very traits that made humans formidable: ingenuity, adaptability, and a fierce determination to protect their home. As the alien commanders struggled to regroup, internal communications revealed growing dissent and fear, the chain of command breaking down under the stress of unexpected losses. And while the human could have obliterated the remaining fleet, they instead sent targeted strikes disabling propulsion systems and weaponry, leaving the Korrath alive but thoroughly defeated. The message was clear to all civilizations watching: humanity was not a species to be conquered, underestimated, or dismissed, and the Korrath Empire, once considered invincible, was now facing a reality in which their hubris and miscalculations had cost them more than ships. They had underestimated the very essence of what it meant to be human, a species capable of strategic brilliance, unwavering courage, and the cold precision of controlled retaliation. And as the surviving Korrath retreated into the darkness of space, Earth's communications relayed one final transmission, calm yet resolute, warning any who might follow that the age of underestimating humanity was over, and the galaxy would soon learn that a planet united, prepared, and determined could withstand any force, no matter how powerful or how arrogant its leaders believed themselves to be. Humanity had faced the ultimate test, survived with minimal loss, and emerged not as a crushed underdog, but as a force whose intelligence, resilience, and ingenuity demanded respect, ensuring that the story of the Korrath invasion will be remembered across star systems as a cautionary tale of pride, misjudgment, and the indomitable spirit of humans. The aftermath of the first encounter left the Korrath Empire reeling, their fleet scattered and their confidence shattered, and yet within the halls of Earth defense councils there was no celebration, only meticulous planning. Because humanity understood that survival was not enough, the galaxy would notice, and now the stakes were higher than ever. Scientists and military strategists worked tirelessly to analyze the remnants of Korrath technology, reverse engineering propulsion systems, energy weapons, and shield harmonics to integrate the lessons into humanity's rapidly evolving defense networks, while spies embedded in the fringes of Korrath-controlled space-relayed intelligence about political fractures, supply chain vulnerabilities, and overconfidence that had taken root among the alien officers. Every decision on Earth was calculated to expand human influence without provoking unnecessary retaliation, and the civilian population, though largely unaware of the depth of interstellar politics, was mobilized to support the massive infrastructure needed to sustain orbital defenses, repair and upgrade fleets, and develop new technologies that pushed the boundaries of what had previously been considered possible, as fleets of advanced human frigates and cruisers were constructed, designed to exploit weaknesses in Korrath formations and engage multiple targets simultaneously. The aliens, observing from afar, assumed humans would now cower, submit to diplomacy, or surrender their sovereignty, failing to recognize the cultural core of humanity, the instinct to fight not just for survival but for honor, dignity, and the protection of those unable to defend themselves. And when the Korrath dispatched reconnaissance squadrons to gauge human readiness, they were met with ambushes so precise it appeared humans had anticipated every move, deploying electronic countermeasures, decoys, and microsatellites to disrupt communications and sensors, leaving the Korrath pilots confused, their coordination collapsing under the pressure of tactics that no historical precedent in the Empire could explain. Simultaneously, Earth's leaders reached out to neighboring star systems, offering discreet alliances, intelligence sharing, and protection in exchange for loyalty or at least neutrality. A subtle projection of influence that demonstrated humanity's capability not just for combat but for diplomacy and strategy on a galactic scale, the Korrath, unable to comprehend the human capacity for long-term planning, grew desperate, issuing commands that increasingly contradicted each other as subcommanders acted out of fear, and humanity watched, patient and restrained, while their own fleets continued to grow in sophistication, integrating AI-driven combat analysis, energy manipulation technologies, and autonomous defense drones that could adapt and learn in real time. The first decisive counterattack occurred not in space but along a border system. The Korrath had assumed secure. Human forces infiltrated orbital stations, disabled defense arrays, and then, with flawless coordination, engaged the main fleet, turning a defensive operation into a calculated offensive that crippled the Korrath's ability to respond. Alien commanders could hardly believe what they were seeing. Their centuries of dominance, their experience against dozens of starfaring civilizations, had not prepared them for a species that combined intuition, innovation, and sheer adaptability at levels they could not measure. Meanwhile, back on Earth, civilian engineers and programmers continued to contribute, developing new propulsion methods, adaptive shielding, and weapons that were scalable, versatile, and lethal, proving that humanity's strength did not lie in singular technological marvels but in the ability to evolve, improvise, and integrate across multiple disciplines simultaneously. As intelligence reports detail the Korrath's growing panic, internal communication breakdowns, and fear-driven miscalculations, human analysts predicted the alien empire would fracture further, and instead of annihilating them outright, humans leveraged the moment to negotiate from strength, issuing terms that secured not just survival but influence, protection for vulnerable systems, and deterrence for future threats. It was during these negotiations that humans revealed their true technological edge: stealth-capable carriers, energy projectors capable of disabling entire ship classes, and networked AI systems that could anticipate fleet movements. And the Korrath, forced to confront these revelations, finally recognized the full extent of their misjudgment. The arrogance that had driven them to assume Earth would fall easily had blinded them to the species' ingenuity, resilience, and unparalleled capacity for coordinated defense. The ripple effect of this realization spread through the galaxy. Other civilizations began to question long-held assumptions, alliances shifted subtly, and humanity's reputation grew as a power capable of not just surviving but decisively altering the balance of interstellar politics. Yet throughout it all, humans maintained discipline, choosing carefully where to apply force, always aware that true victory was not simply in destruction but in demonstrating that humanity could shape the galaxy on its own terms. And as the Korrath scrambled to regroup, Earth's leaders quietly expanded influence, fortified defenses, and continued developing new technologies, ensuring that when the next challenge came, humanity would not just survive, it would dominate strategically, a lesson the universe would not soon forget. The Korrath Empire, humiliated and frustrated by their failed attempt to conquer Earth, began reassessing their entire approach to the human species. Their military councils divided between those advocating retreat and those insisting on immediate retaliation. But humanity, anticipating these fractures, intensified its surveillance across the Empire's bordering systems, mapping out command hierarchies, logistics chains, and morale weaknesses, while simultaneously expanding Earth's interstellar presence through forward-deployed observation posts and lightly armed yet highly mobile frigates capable of rapid response. The humans understood that victory was not measured by brute force alone, but by the ability to control the battlefield psychologically, strategically, and technologically. And when the Korrath attempted a series of feints to lure humans into trap zones within the asteroid belts, every move was countered with precision, using stealth drones, predictive AI, and adaptive shielding, leaving the alien fleet increasingly disoriented and overextended. On the ground, Earth's political and scientific leadership coordinated the next phase of preparation, ensuring that civilians, engineers, and researchers contributed to a war effort that was both defensive and subtly offensive, developing energy projectors, quantum communication interceptors, and kinetic disruption arrays capable of disabling multiple enemy vessels simultaneously, while in the upper atmosphere, orbital stations acted as intelligence hubs, continuously scanning and analyzing Korrath communications, propulsion outputs, and weapon charging patterns, feeding real-time data to command centers that plotted counter-strategies with near-perfect accuracy. The Korrath, confident in their superior numbers, underestimated the human ability to integrate intelligence, technology, and tactical innovation at a speed no alien empire had ever witnessed. And when human fleets engaged in a coordinated strike against a Korrath supply convoy, they demonstrated not only superior firepower but also an uncanny understanding of the enemy's behavior, anticipating evasive maneuvers, countering electronic warfare, and exploiting gaps in shielding with devastating efficiency. Casualties among the Korrath were significant, morale plummeted, and internal debates erupted over command decisions as junior officers began to question the competence of their superiors. Meanwhile, humanity's strategy extended. Beyond combat alone, diplomatic envoys reached out to neutral systems, offering protection and intelligence in exchange for allegiance or cooperation, subtly creating a network of influence that would complicate any Korrath attempt at large-scale retaliation. And the Korrath, perceiving themselves as besieged, began making mistakes driven by fear rather than logic, sending poorly coordinated attacks that allowed humans to further isolate and neutralize key fleets, while intelligence gathered from captured ships and communication arrays revealed the Empire's internal paranoia, mismanagement of resources, and over-reliance on traditional tactics, allowing humanity to exploit these weaknesses without unnecessary destruction. Yet humans remained deliberate and restrained, understanding that a reputation for measured but decisive power would serve better than wanton annihilation. As the first full-scale battle unfolded near a contested system rich in mineral resources, human fleet formations demonstrated fluidity and adaptability, with frigates and cruisers dynamically responding to Korrath maneuvers, decoy deployments, and energy pulse arrays neutralizing enemy shields in perfect sequence. The Korrath fleet, unprepared for such sophisticated integration, suffered heavy losses, their attempts to regroup only exposing further vulnerabilities. Back on Earth, civilian populations remained shielded from direct danger, but actively engaged in supporting the war effort through engineering innovations, logistics planning, and even training simulations, all contributing to a larger system of adaptive response that made human operations appear almost prescient. Within weeks, the Korrath began internal purges, blaming commanders for failures they could not fully understand, while Earth's leaders capitalized on this chaos, negotiating temporary truces and securing neutral systems under the implicit protection of human military and technological superiority. The psychological impact of humanity's restraint combined with tactical brilliance caused neighboring civilizations to reconsider their alliances, treaties, and even the long-standing belief that the Korrath Empire was unassailable, and as humans prepared for the next inevitable engagement, they did so not out of aggression but from a clear-eyed understanding that the galaxy had underestimated them, that their ingenuity, adaptability, and moral discipline created a force unmatched by any adversary. And when the Korrath finally attempted a concentrated assault on a strategic forward base, they were met with a networked human defense so intricate, so anticipatory, that their fleet was systematically neutralized, leaving only fragments to retreat, and in the aftermath, it became evident to the entire empire that Earth was no longer a target to be conquered but a sentinel power whose reach, intelligence, and capability demanded respect, a lesson that would resonate for generations across star systems, reinforcing the hard-earned truth. Humans were not to be underestimated, provoked, or challenged lightly. As the Korrath Empire reeled from repeated defeats and their confidence eroded by the relentless efficiency of human strategy, Earth's leaders turned their attention to consolidating power beyond the solar system, establishing a network of forward operating bases that served both as defensive outposts and platforms for intelligence gathering. These bases were equipped with autonomous drones, adaptive energy shields, and quantum-link communication systems that allowed instantaneous coordination with Earth's command centers, creating an interstellar web of awareness and rapid response capability that a Korrath could neither anticipate nor counter simultaneously. Humans began to study the Korrath's own technology in depth, reverse engineering propulsion mechanisms, energy-based weapon systems, and communication encryption to develop tools that not only neutralized the enemy's advantage but transformed it into a tactical asset, while civilians, engineers, and scientists worked in tandem to improve production efficiency, repair damaged vessels, and develop new technologies. The Korrath, meanwhile, struggled with internal dissent, their officers demoralized by the inability to predict human actions and the repeated failures of conventional tactics. Some factions pushed for immediate retreat, while others demanded revenge, and this division weakened the empire further. Humanity observed carefully, exploiting every misstep with surgical precision, deploying rapid strike units to intercept supply chains, disrupting command communications, and neutralizing forward stations before the Korrath could consolidate. In every encounter, human forces demonstrated adaptability that defied alien expectations, modifying energy frequencies mid-battle, reprogramming drone swarms on the fly, and using advanced simulations to anticipate Korrath movements in ways that seemed almost prescient. And yet the humans never overextended, combining offense and defense with strategic patience, reinforcing the lesson that their power was not reckless but calculated. And when the first large-scale orbital engagement occurred near the outer colonies of a neutral system, human fleets executed complex maneuvers that neutralized enemy formations without unnecessary destruction, forcing the Korrath to recognize the futility of their aggression while civilians and allied species witnessed humanity's discipline and ingenuity firsthand. In parallel, diplomatic initiatives by Earth's envoys began to solidify alliances with previously neutral civilizations, offering protection, technological insight, and intelligence in exchange for loyalty, subtly creating a coalition that would bolster humanity's influence and further destabilize Korrath assumptions about the galaxy's political landscape. And as the Korrath continued to press attacks out of desperation, they consistently encountered humans who anticipated their moves, deployed countermeasures, and adapted strategy in real time, leaving alien forces unable to form coherent offensives, morale plummeting and command structures fracturing under the weight of repeated failure. Humans, meanwhile, use captured vessels and technology to refine their own systems, creating hybrid craft capable of rapid maneuvering, energy absorption, and multi-target engagement, while training crews on simulations that integrated Korrath tactics to ensure readiness for any contingency. As weeks turned into months, the Korrath Empire found its reputation shattered among allied and neutral civilizations. The failures on the battlefield coupled with visible human technological superiority causing doubt, fear, and hesitation. And even within Korrath political circles, debates raged over how to deal with a species that combined raw adaptability, intelligence, moral discipline, and technological innovation in a manner no other empire had encountered. When humans initiated a coordinated strike against the Korrath home fleet, they demonstrated the culmination of these efforts, using stealth, electronic warfare, and predictive maneuvering to disable command vessels, incapacitate weapons, and force surrender without wholesale destruction, the Korrath were left with little choice but to acknowledge humanity's superiority. The same arrogance that had driven them to invade Earth now rendering them impotent in the face of a species they had underestimated at every turn, and as humans consolidated gains, repaired forward bases, and ensured security for Allied systems, the message across the galaxy became clear. Earth was a power of unmatched resilience, intellect, and strategy, a civilization that could defend itself, project influence, and teach even the most arrogant of galactic empires a lesson in respect, foresight, and the indomitable strength of humanity. And the Korrath, having learned this reality at tremendous cost, faced a stark truth: underestimating humans was a mistake that would echo across generations, a lesson in humility that would forever alter interstellar relations, diplomacy, and warfare. The Korrath Empire, now struggling to regroup after multiple defeats, found its internal cohesion unraveling as distrust and fear spread among its leadership, while Earth, capitalizing on these fractures, expanded its reach to establish a network of forward patrols, intelligence outposts, and rapid response fleets, each designed to monitor alien movements, protect Allied systems, and provide a deterrent against further Korrath aggression. Humans had learned the importance of patience, restraint, and precision, combining advanced AI analysis with human intuition to create strategies that adapted in real time, exploiting weaknesses in Korrath's formation, communications, and command structure, and every encounter reinforced a growing legend of humanity's ingenuity, adaptability, and resilience. Even as the aliens attempted desperate raids, humans anticipated their every move, deploying countermeasures that disabled weapon systems, neutralized repulsion, and intercepted communications, leaving the Korrath confused and increasingly desperate, while civilians, engineers, and scientists on Earth continue to support the war effort, producing new ships, enhancing energy shields, and developing weapons capable of targeting multiple threats simultaneously, all integrated seamlessly into a vast, coordinated system of defense and offense. The Korrath's arrogance, born of centuries of unchallenged victories, had blinded them to the possibility that a species as seemingly primitive as humans could combine technological brilliance, strategic acumen, and moral discipline to outmaneuver an empire. And when humans launched a carefully orchestrated strike on a critical supply line near a contested system, they demonstrated not just military superiority, but an understanding of psychological warfare, creating the impression of omnipresence and inevitability that forced the Korrath to abandon plans for further incursions. Simultaneously, diplomatic efforts by human envoys secured alliances with previously neutral civilizations, offering protection and technological assistance in exchange for loyalty, subtly reshaping the galactic balance of power while the Korrath struggled to maintain credibility. In every confrontation, humans exhibited discipline, precision, and adaptability, altering strategies mid-battle, deploying decoys and countermeasures with exacting timing, and using predictive analytics to anticipate enemy maneuvers, while Korrath forces, unable to comprehend the level of coordination, suffered catastrophic losses that further eroded morale and trust in their leadership. Earth's military and scientific teams continue to innovate, integrating alien technology into human vessels, improving energy efficiency, weapon range, and defensive capabilities, while AI-driven combat systems learn and adapted at unprecedented speeds, making human fleets increasingly formidable. As months passed, the Korrath Empire realized that they had misjudged humanity fundamentally. The species' ability to coordinate, adapt, and execute complex operations was unmatched, and their moral restraint in the application of power only heightened the psychological impact on their enemies. Humans, however, did not become complacent. Knowing that the galaxy's perception of strength was as important as its reality, they maintained vigilance, refined tactics, and continued developing new technologies, ensuring that any future threat will be met with overwhelming preparation and precision. And when humans finally coordinated a multi-system offensive that neutralized remaining Korrath fleets threatening Allied territories, the aliens were forced into a humiliating retreat, their authority questioned across the galaxy, internal dissent rampant, and their previous reputation as an unstoppable empire forever tarnished. The operation demonstrated humanity's mastery of integrated warfare, diplomacy, and strategic foresight, sending a clear message: Humans could not only defend themselves, but shape the galactic order according to their principles of resilience, ingenuity, and disciplined strength. And as survivors of the Korrath Empire returned to regroup and reassess, the lesson was undeniable. Any civilization that underestimated Earth risked not just defeat, but the exposure of their hubris, a truth that would resonate across star systems for generations, establishing humanity as a power whose presence, strategy, and capability demanded respect, recognition, and caution from all who watched, a species that had transformed the consequences of arrogance into a blueprint for interstellar supremacy. With the Korrath Empire in disarray and their remaining fleet scattered across border systems, humanity shifted from reactive defense to proactive strategic positioning, establishing observation stations, forward command posts, and rapid deployment bases throughout key star systems, each equipped with autonomous drones, adaptive shields, and AI-linked communication networks capable of coordinating complex maneuvers faster than any alien adversary could process, while human scientists and engineers continued to reverse engineer captured Korrath technology, integrating energy modulation, propulsion enhancements, and electronic warfare capabilities into the human arsenal. And as the Korrath attempted to regroup, sending task forces to reclaim lost systems, they were met with preemptive strikes so precise and coordinated that entire fleets were neutralized before even engaging, forcing the alien commanders to confront the reality that humans had not only adapted to their tactics, but anticipated them. And in the political arena, Earth's diplomats leveraged these victories to secure alliances with neutral civilizations, offering protection, technology sharing, and strategic counsel, subtly extending humanity's influence while the Korrath scrambled to maintain loyalty among their subject states. On Earth, leaders, scientists, and military officers worked in tandem to refine logistics, develop multi-tiered defensive grids, and train crews in complex maneuvers that combined human intuition with predictive AI, creating a level of preparedness that left no contingency unaddressed. Every skirmish further demonstrated humanity's adaptability, from drone swarms that could reprogram mid-battle to energy pulse arrays capable of disabling multiple enemy ships simultaneously, and stealth frigates that could appear and vanish in orbital shadows, leaving Korrath fleets frustrated, demoralized, and increasingly divided as commanders debated strategy, misattributed failures, and struggled to comprehend the sophistication of human operations. Meanwhile, civilians and engineers contributed to the war effort, innovating new shield designs, propulsion systems, and weapons that were deployed across the solar system and allied territories, ensuring that humans could sustain pressure while minimizing losses. The psychological impact on the Korrath was profound. Their assumption that humans were a primitive species shattered, replaced by a grudging respect and deep-seated fear, as humans began executing coordinated strikes across multiple systems simultaneously, targeting supply lines, communications hubs, and fleet concentrations with surgical precision, forcing the Korrath into retreat and leaving only fragments to regroup far from contested space. And even these survivors found themselves unable to rebuild effectively, as humans had not only neutralized their forces but anticipated the exact locations where reinforcements might gather. And while the Korrath grappled with internal dissent, humans demonstrated both restraint and dominance, choosing to neutralize rather than annihilate where it was strategically advantageous, reinforcing perception that humanity's strength was deliberate, intelligent, and disciplined. As intelligence reports detail the Korrath's internal chaos, splintered fleets, and loss of authority, human leadership leveraged the momentum to secure treaties with newly aligned civilizations, consolidating influence and ensuring future stability, while simultaneously maintaining a forward posture capable of responding instantly to any resurgence. And in a final demonstration of power and strategy, humans executed a massive, multi-system offensive that permanently crippled remaining Korrath operational capabilities, securing key star systems, freeing previously occupied territories, and delivering a clear, undeniable message across the galaxy. Humanity could not only defend its home world but project influence, coordinate interstellar operations, and neutralize threats with precision, efficiency, and foresight, leaving no doubt that the species was a force capable of shaping galactic politics and warfare. And the Korrath Empire, humbled, fractured, and forced into retreat, was left to reckon with a catastrophic error of underestimating a species whose ingenuity, resilience, and disciplined application of power had permanently altered the balance of interstellar power, ensuring that the story of Earth's triumph would resonate as a cautionary tale of pride, miscalculation, and the unstoppable potential of humanity. The Korrath Empire, finally confronted with the undeniable reality of humanity's strength, found itself fractured, humiliated, and stripped of credibility across the galaxy, their fleets decimated, command structures in disarray, and political cohesion shattered by the repeated failures against a species they had assumed to be primitive and easily subdued, while on Earth, leaders, scientists, and strategists worked to consolidate gains, repair infrastructure, and ensure the stability of newly aligned allied systems, using the opportunity to establish long-term defense networks, technological collaborations, and diplomatic channels that would secure humanity's influence for generations. The final decisive engagements were a testament to everything humans had learned and perfected during the conflict: predictive AI-guided fleet maneuvers, adaptive energy shields, autonomous drones capable of executing complex coordinated strikes, and the seamless integration of human intuition with cutting-edge technology, each action demonstrating the disciplined brilliance and strategic patience that had come to define the human approach to interstellar warfare, as the last Korrath fleets retreated into the uncharted reaches of space, leaving behind crippled vessels, lost colonies, and the humiliation of a failed conquest. Humanity did not gloat but instead focused on stabilizing the galaxy, providing protection for systems previously under Korrath control, assisting allies in rebuilding, and using the lessons learned from the conflict to refine interstellar policies, defense strategies, and cooperative networks that ensured lasting peace under conditions that emphasized both respect and deterrence. The Korrath, internally fractured and wary of further human intervention, struggled to maintain order. Their leaders forced a record with the devastating consequences of arrogance, misjudgment, and underestimating a species that combined ingenuity, adaptability, moral discipline, and strategic foresight at levels they had never encountered. Across the galaxy, other civilizations observed humanity's actions with a mix of awe and caution, recognizing that Earth had not only defended itself but had decisively altered the balance of power, demonstrating that a civilization capable of coordinating intelligence, technology, and moral resolve could not only survive but command respect, influence interstellar politics, and deter even the most powerful empires. On Earth, humanity emerged stronger, wiser, and more unified, the conflict having forged unprecedented cooperation among scientists, military leaders, civilians, and allied species, while technological advancements gleaned from both human innovation and captured alien systems ensured that future threats could be met with confidence and efficiency as communication networks broadcast across the galaxy. The message was unequivocal. Earth was not a planet to be conquered, underestimated, or provoked, and the cost of miscalculation against humanity was now a lesson written in the ruins of the Korrath Empire's ambition. The humans had proven that their strength was not merely in technology or numbers, but in creativity, adaptability, coordination, and an unyielding resolve to defend what was theirs while protecting those unable to protect themselves. And as the galaxy adjusted to this new reality, humanity looked to the stars with cautious optimism, ready to explore, defend, and influence, but always prepared to demonstrate that any species foolish enough to challenge them would face the same combination of precision, intelligence, and relentless determination that had transformed an attempted conquest into a legend of human resilience, ingenuity, and moral discipline, leaving the galaxy with a clear and enduring truth. The humans had arrived as defenders, strategists, and protectors, and no empire, no matter how vast or arrogant, would ever underestimate them again.